Hello everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. Sometimes I can't even get out of bed. Sometimes I can't even leave my room. Sometimes I'm trapped in my house, unable to speak to anyone. This is probably very relatable information for quite a large sum of you. Coming from my streams, Patreon and Twitter, I've found that a lot of you suffer with mental health issues, so that's what I'm here to talk about today. So I'm going to be speaking from the heart. I'm going to be very real with you guys, more real than I ever have done before, because I think it's important to reveal a bit of myself to you guys so you guys can find more relatability with me, because I know that's helped with streams, my Discord and other platforms, but with YouTube I've never really done that before. So if you enjoyed today's video, please do leave it a like and subscribe if you want to help support me and my channel. Thank you so much guys. Let's begin. So depression and anxiety, they suck, they're awful, they're horrible, and I hate them both. I'm mainly going to be talking about depression and anxiety today, but you know, obviously there are a large sum of mental health issues that need addressing. I'm going to be talking about what helped me with my issues, so maybe you guys can find some support in that, because I know for a lot of people, when you first start discovering these mental health issues within you, it can be a very lonely thing. You can have a lot of difficulty finding where you need to go to find the right support. So first off, I just want to talk about other YouTubers and depression and anxiety. These words get chucked around at high speeds these days, especially anxiety. So often the YouTubers claim that they suffer with anxiety, and from someone that suffers with it really badly, you can just tell when someone is being dishonest about this. I don't like how these words are losing their impact because of how much they are now used these days. It seems like everyone with the tiniest of issues claim they have depression or anxiety. Well, I'm here to tell you I absolutely do have depression and anxiety. I find them horrible. They put a complete stop on my life. They make it incredibly difficult to run this channel, even though, funnily enough, this channel is one of the only things that is helping me get through my depression and anxiety, and we'll be getting onto coping mechanisms next. So first off, I want to talk about positive coping mechanisms and positive support that can help you with depression and anxiety. So first off, the basics, the very basics for me, and this is something that should be taught in school all over the world. This is mindfulness and meditation. So both mindfulness and meditation, I think, are pretty much essential to anyone that's dealing with especially anxiety, but depression as well. The idea of mindfulness is about living in the moment, being as opposed to doing. So what this means is we live in a very stressful and busy environment. There is so much stress put on us in our day-to-day lives, in school, college, and this can really enhance the anxiety and stress we feel. You can be constantly worrying, going from your day-to-day lives on autopilot, not really living, just doing. And I think mindfulness and meditation are essential to stripping these things down so you are just being in the moment. And this can help you to stop worrying. Not only can it do that, but it can also help you to kind of structure your life a bit more. It gives you a moment to breathe. And getting on to what mindfulness entails a lot of meditation, but it's kind of smaller stuff you can do on the go, on the fly. I'm going to be mentioning some apps now. This is Headspace and Calm. These are two fantastic apps you can find on your phone, and I know most of you will have a smartphone. The reason why I'm mentioning apps isn't because I'm sponsored by them, but it's because I think they're, one, pretty good, and you always have your phone with you everywhere you go. So these apps have little meditations you can do on the fly. It's all about getting into the moment, being in the present, and stripping yourself down from these worries. Meditation is basically the same thing, but it's a more involved process, so this is something you should be practicing daily, maybe in the morning and the evening every day, but you know, that's after you get through the basics. The thing is with meditation, a lot of people give up too soon. meditation can act kind of like antidepressants. They need a few weeks before you can start feeling the effects. And it can be difficult. It can be really difficult at first. People can think, what am I even doing? Is this doing anything? I don't really understand. Like, what does this help? For me, it's essential that you just push through these first few weeks until you start feeling things. Because with the human mind, you have to stick to a routine of something over, 2 to 3 weeks before it becomes fully locked into your brain as a routine, and then it becomes much easier to do this every day. Meditation, mindfulness, very important. Now, antidepressants. Antidepressants can be, for some people, absolutely goddamn essential. They cannot live their lives without them. For me, I see antidepressants kind of as a plaster. So they can cover up the problem for a certain amount of time. However, they won't fix the root cause of the problem. That's where counselling and therapy comes in. However, I do completely understand that for some people, antidepressants are essential for every single day of their lives, because you can be genetically depressed and anxious, and that's really hard to deal with. So I completely understand where some people are coming from. See, the thing is with mental health issues, everyone is so different. Everyone has different brains and bodies, so the way they deal with their problems, the effect it has on them can be so wildly different from person to person. This is why it is essential that you don't try just the one antidepressant and after a few weeks think, nah, this isn't working. For a start, most SSRIs and other antidepressants will take a few weeks before you can start feeling the effects. Unfortunately, these few weeks can also entail some rather horrible side effects, so this is before you start feeling the positive benefits and are only feeling the negative side effects. With SSRIs, this can be difficulty eating, difficulty sleeping, you can get muscle tension, you can get gurning. It's kind of like the side effects of MDMA. It can be quite a rough experience, but even if you try one antidepressant for 6 weeks and you're still thinking, no, it's just not working for me, don't give up, because there are so many more antidepressants out there. I used to be on an antidepressant called mirtazapine. It was very different. At first, you didn't really get the negative side effects. In fact, it helps you sleep a lot and is actually prescribed for sleep issues as well. But unfortunately, it came with this side effect. Yes, I put on, 3-4 stone within the space of a year, and it's been an absolute nightmare trying to get rid of it. I'm now on Prozac, which is, I don't know, sometimes it's a bit hard working out what they're really doing for you, but I just say give them a go, don't give up if one doesn't work. This would move me on to therapy and counselling. Therapy and counselling is there to get to the root of the problem and to really help fix these issues within you so they're no longer an issue, or to make it possible that you can handle these issues on a day-to-day basis. The problem with counselling and therapy is either you can be on a massive waiting list that can take ages, or you can end up having to pay a large amount of money to see a therapist. My mum is a counsellor, she's a therapist, and brother was studying psychology in Bristol University before he passed away. So psychology is definitely a big thing within my family. I find it fascinating. I'm really interested in it, and I think everyone should have a look into psychology. It's a fascinating thing. So this is why I think therapy and counselling is of 100% importance if you want to get to the root cause of your problems. This can entail stuff like cognitive behavioural therapy, which is like a step-to-step thing, finding the triggers of the issues that you're dealing with. Now, moving away from these kinds of things, exercise. Exercise is so important. It is so goddamn important, and no, it's not like you've never been told this before, but yeah, it releases endorphins, it releases dopamine, and obviously it's a great way to stay in shape. Yeah, that was a Family Guy reference. Sorry about that. Exercise is great. I understand, obviously, for a lot of people dealing with mental health issues, you may have a lot of physical issues that disable you from being able to do things like running or cycling or that kind of thing. So If you are one of these people, maybe you have fibromyalgia, I would just say to look up online fibromyalgia exercises, that sort of thing, because it really is of great benefit getting into exercise. And if you get into exercise, this should be a routine. It should be something you do, maybe not every day, but maybe every couple of days. This leads me on to routine and structure. Routine and structure is also absolutely 100% important. It's really important to have a purpose. My purpose is running this YouTube channel, having communication with you guys, and without it I would be in such a bad state. I mean, I'm so struggling at the minute, as you can understand, with my brother passing away, with my house being burnt down. It's been an absolute nightmare. My anxiety is really killing me. Sometimes I can't get out of bed, as I say. Sometimes I can't leave my room. Sometimes I don't want to pick up my phone for days on end because I can't talk to anyone. It's really frustrating and it's so stressful, and I can really understand how people can be led to doing very harmful things to their body. But again, in terms of apps, with your phone you can get apps like AnyDo. AnyDo is a to-do list app. That's a great way of setting reminders and tasks for you and setting it out in an easy way. Also, there's stuff like writing down in a journal, having a diary, doing stuff like bullet journals. This is something my girlfriend's taught me, Cassie. Bullet journals are a fantastic way of being productive, artistic, and getting your jobs and chores done in a really structured way. This, as I say, it gives your life purpose and meaning, and it can be a beautiful reason to get out of bed in the morning and get going. I can find it hard to wash my clothes. I can find it hard to even wash myself sometimes. I'm not afraid to admit this, because depression and anxiety can tear you down and make you a very, very different person to who you should be. So this can lead me on to negative coping mechanisms. There are a lot of them. The main two I will be talking about are drugs and self-harm. Self-harm is obviously a bad thing to do, but for a lot of people it's something that they resort to, it's something that they're used to. The thing is, with a coping mechanism, if there's only one coping mechanism you're used to, you'll naturally go back to it. This is why drugs and addiction can be so bad for people with depression. And to be honest, most people that end up with heroin addictions or crack addictions come from horrible backgrounds. The problems that we suffer from usually come from our childhood. Our childhood is a time that really forms the person we will be for the rest of our lives. Now, I'm absolutely not saying that if you're depressed or anxious, your parents did a bad job. That's not true at all. Your parents can try and do the best job they can, the absolute best job they can, and there can still be problems. I am no stranger to drug addiction or self-harm. Drug addiction is a horrible, horrible cycle. It's an endless, endless cycle that just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. It's a downward spiral that is so goddamn hard to get out of once you get into it. The thing is, once you've been addicted to drugs for several years, this has become your only coping mechanism. And yes, maybe in the first few weeks of doing it you feel a bit better, but a year down the line, when it hasn't worked for that whole year and all you're doing is damaging yourself day after day after day, losing money, losing bits of your body, drugs, it's not a good coping mechanism. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't help anything. All it does is damage and destroy your life. So if you feel like this is the answer, it really isn't. However, there is this wonderful thing called cannabis, and that can help with a lot of issues. However, if you have an addictive personality, it can also become a massive problem. But weed is without a doubt a fantastic thing in a sense of medicinal properties. It can help so many medicinal issues out there, and I think it's wonderful. So that is pretty much all I want to discuss today. I want to do more videos like this in the future. Let me know down in the comments whether you found anything I've said beneficial, whether you've tried some of these things before and you think they're beneficial, or whether you have new ideas that could help us out. I want this to be a back and forth thing between me and you guys, where we can all find coping mechanisms that can help each other. So, I really hope you've enjoyed today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have enjoyed, please do leave it a like and subscribe if you want to help support me and my channel. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Love you all. Peace out.